All right. So how do we get from you're going through this like detox process to eventually you actually start businesses and kind of figure out how to create solutions for other people?
One of the guys from recovery gives me a job in his call center. I start making a couple bucks. I get a $550 a month apartment in a not so great neighborhood, and I'm walking to work and I'm walking to recovery meetings and I'm hanging out on the recovery scene, and I'm actively doing this recovery process and doing the work that they're putting in front of me, and I'm changing. And I'm changing from the inside out. And I like, the more I do, the more I get, and the more I get, the more I like it. And I start to get excited about it.
You're addicted.
I'm addicted to it. And part of that excitement was I want to tell everyone else about it. And so I lived in like the hood, right? And right on like the outskirts of the hood was this down and out state funded treatment center called Keystone Hall. And it was a rehab I never went to, but the place saved my life. I used to walk I would get out of work and I would walk to the treatment center, right through the hood, past the dope dealers, past all the bullshit, and head down, and I would get to the rehab, and I was so poor, I didn't have any money, they would feed me. And I would just volunteer all my time and I would spend it with their clients. And I would talk to them about recovery, and I'd tell them about my experience, and I'd tell them, you know, I've been here for X amount of months. I've been here for a year. It's working for me. And I would show them the work that I was shown, and I would start to take them through that process. And in that, I found what still to this day I know to be my God-given purpose on earth was to help other people just like me. And in that, everything that I'd been through since I was a little kid, to all the pain on the street, to all of it, it made it make sense, and it gave it a why. And it made it valuable, and it made it useful to other people. And in that, I fell in love with it. And so after a little while at the call center, I left. I went back, after I've been sober a few months, my dad starts talking to me again. I go back working for him, cutting down trees. I start saving money. I'm doing side jobs. I'm with the guys at that facility. I'm at the recovery meetings. I'm with the recovery people. And I save up some money. My dad believes in me at this point. And when I'm about a year and a half sober, we put our coins together and come up with about 50 grand. This is October of 2008.
Okay, this is you and your dad.
Not a great economical time, October 2008. I buy, with my dad's help, I buy a 3-family apartment building, bank-owned, foreclosed, vacant for 150 grand. And with this vision that I'm going to go and live here, and I'm going to put a couple beds in each bedroom of every apartment, and I'm going to get those guys who are in that 30-day rehab, when they leave, they're going to come here and live with me. And they're going to pay me to stay in this bed. It's called a sober house. And this was a sober house before, like I'd say sober house, you kind of know what that is. This is 2008. Like, this is not popular. The guys in recovery that I was telling I was going to do this, they're like, the fuck are you talking about?
So just so people understand, somebody is addicted to whatever the vice of choice is. They go to the actual treatment center, but they're only there for some time boxed amount. So 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is.
30 days usually.
Okay, yeah. So 30 days. When they leave, the problem that you had identified was they're going to go right back into the environment.
They're going back to the environment that got them there in the first place.
And so
I saw a problem, entrepreneurship. I saw a problem, and I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to fix the problem. I'm going to give them a place to go.
Okay.
And then I provided structure. And so they would leave there and come with me. And I lived with them for 2 years. That's how the business started. It was me and a revolving door of 11 guys. And I did the recovery work with them. We cooked together. We went to meetings together. I took them into the jails. I took them into other facilities to do service work and help other people. We did everything together. And a lot of those guys from that early day, they're still sober now. That was a long time ago. But
what were the economics of it? What were they paying you? Like,
they paid me
a couple $100?
Like $700 a month.
$700 a month.
Yeah.
And then basically you were able to run this, and this is like your full-time job. Like, you're just.
No, I'm going to work. I'm still cutting down trees every day.
Really?
So I'm waking up with these guys, waking them all up. It's very spiritual based. And so we're sitting in a circle. We're doing prayer. We're doing meditation together early in the morning. We're reading recovery literature, spiritual literature, whatever. And then they have jobs. And so they go to work. I go to work. After the work day ends, we all meet back. We're doing family style dinners together. We're every day was something different. We're going to a recovery meeting. We're going to speak to new people at this facility, a jail, whatever. And so, and there were rules, you know what I mean? You had to make your bed. There was just a curfew. There was a lot of structure to it.
Mm-hmm. And so as you're doing this, when do you go from, okay, I have this one facility to now I'm going to like turn this into a business?
So 2008, 2010, being a logger is a blood sport. It is a tough way to make a living. And
what's so tough about it?
You're outside all day long in New Hampshire. You get about 3 months of decent weather, and even that's hot. So you're cold, hot, in the snow. You're cutting trees down. It's just hard physical labor all day long. 5 a.m. wake up on the job site by 6:30, 6:45. The type of people that work those jobs can be a little rough. Mm-hmm. And so your employees are, problematic at times, but it's just always something, and I really loved what I was doing with that. And every day I'd wake up and be like, fuck, this sucks. You know what I mean? I got cut by chainsaws. I'm getting whipped by trees. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is terrible. And I wanted to open a second house. And so at that time I went to my dad, tough conversation, tough moment, his only son, his only child. And I go to him and his business, right? I'm the next generation, and told him, I said, Dad, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I need to go full time with this. And that's when I made the pivot. And so
did he want you to take over the logging business?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure my whole life. Like since I was a little kid, he was like, when you get up and run this business and, that type of thing. And so it put a lot of pressure on having the courage to have that conversation with my dad of like, nah, I want to do my own thing. I want to be my own guy.
Were you scared to have it with him?
Terrified.
Yeah. What was his reaction?
Solemn. He heard me. He probably saw it coming. I was so passionate about what I was doing, and I was good at it. Mm-hmm. And so I opened a second one, and then I opened a bigger one.
And how are you financing those?
Dude, you know what's crazy? This is one of my sticks about a lot of entrepreneurs today coming out of this economy that we've been in about investors and loans and debt and blah, blah, blah. Bro, if people could time travel back to 2008, 9, 10, even 11, you could walk into a bank and be like, can I finance this bottle of water? And they'd be like, are you fucking okay? Like, do you know what's going on outside? Get out of my bag. Like, you couldn't get a loan for anything, right?
Yeah.
And so I bootstrapped that business from that initial seed money to buy that first building until I sold it in December of 2021. And I never took a single dollar of investment money for growth. And I never took a single dollar of a loan or debt into the business. Mm-hmm. My waterfall didn't have debt to pay down at the transaction, right? Mm-hmm. And the company size at that time, we were doing, a little more than $50 million top line revenue, 325 employees. It was real business. And so what I did was this really old fashioned thing that's not very popular is called I worked hard and I spent less. You know what I mean? It takes fucking discipline though. When you have money in the bank and you're still buying cheap food and driving a shitty car and like not living in a crap place, that's the discipline of like the entrepreneurship. Mine was driven by the economy, which I'm grateful for, but that's what I did.
So as you're doing this, what did you kind of learn, right, in terms of scaling this business? Because 300 employees is no joke. Also, when you start getting into tens of millions of dollars of revenue, that's real responsibility and it's real risk because now you could like really screw things up, right? You can get yourself in trouble pretty quickly. You make a couple of bad decisions. You buy a piece of real estate that goes underwater. All these different things that start to happen. What would you say was like the one or two things you did? Because you had what I'll call like the street education. Mm-hmm. But that's big business now. Now you're in a game of like, you don't just, wake up one day and like, oh, I know how to do real estate transactions, right? You don't wake up one day and like, oh, I know how to manage 300 people, right? Sure, you may know how to sell drugs on the street, but that's a different skill set. It may be a related skill set, but it's different. Was there one or two things you did that you really credit to like being able to transition from just a pure street education, actually being able to run a business like this?
Yeah, I'm a 15-year-old dropout that still doesn't have a GED. But what I do have is an unbelievably developed ability to learn. I'm a sponge. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. I just kept it glass half empty the whole time and was constantly in this obsessive pursuit of learning from people, learning from books, learning from anything and everywhere that I could find information on teaching myself things.
Yeah.